Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. In the cultural dimension, there are several things that are studied, one of which is indulgence and restraint. Based on research from Hospit, we from Group 14 found an explanation of indulgence and restraint in societies as a cultural dimension. But first, let me introduce the members of Group 14, which consists of me, or myself, Ahmad Fosi Ansani, then there are Nur Asrani, and then finally there are Andi Baso Makassar. So before we get in definition, let's take a look about the origin of the terms indulgence versus restraint. What we found, there are three factors of this uh, cultural dimension. Becoming say for covering certain societal differences referred by the World Value Survey (WVS) and explained by the Hospit for other five dimensions. The second is mainly related to national level of your subjective happiness and the life control. And the third is based on the research from the 1995 to 2004 WVS representative samples have 93 societies for population. So let's get into the definition and we'll explain by Nur Asran.
So now we will see how indulgent versus restraint is in the social culture dimension. In terms of its definition, indulgent versus restraint is a societal culture dimension. Indulgent societies allow relatively free gratification of basic and natural human desires, leading to enjoying life and having fun. Restrained societies suppress gratification of needs and regulate it by means of strict social norms. So, how can we define between socialist indulgent societies versus restrained societies? So, indulgent societies, people feel healthier and happier, a perception of personal life control, leisure ethic, optimism, positive attitude, more extrovert personalities, having friends very important, active participation in sport, less moral discipline, looser sexual mores. Whereas restrained societies, people feel less happy and less healthy. What happens to me is not my doing. Work ethic, pessimist, cynicism, more introvert personalities, having friends less important, less poor participation, stricter moral discipline, stricter sexual mores.
How is a society's degree of indulgence versus restraint measured? There is no absolute standard for the degree of indulgence versus restraint. What we can measure is differences between societies. The position of societies relative to each other is expressed in an indulgence versus restraint index score (IVR). IVR values have been plotted on a scale from 0 to 100. Scores close to 0 stand for a more restrained. Score close to 100 for a more indulgent society. In the indulgent section, there are Mexico with an IVR score of 97, Nigeria with score of 84, Sweden with score 78, and several other countries. And in the restraint section, there are France with an IVR score of 48, Japan with score of 42, Germany with a score of 40, and several other countries.
Now we know about the country have indulgence or restraint societies from the EVR score, like Mexico in the 97 score of EVR, and including in the indulgent societies. So let's take a look about the example in our societies about the indulgence versus restraint.
Indulgent societies. The first, freedom of speech for all is rated as very important. Second, higher crime rates, smaller police force. Third, in countries with educated population, higher birth rates. Fourth, in wealthy countries, more obesitas. And fifth, higher approval of foreign music and films.
Restrained societies. Maintaining order in the nation is rated as a very important. Lower crime rates, larger police force. In countries with educated population, lower bit rates. In wealthy countries, less obesitas, lower approval of foreign music and films.
So is there our presentation about the indulgent versus restraint, the cultural dimension in our societies. So we wanted to say sorry about that when you have not completely understand about our presentation, and what we found this material from the book of hospice, uh, and all the things that we know about this cultural dimension is the completely have explained in that video. So when you have a misunderstanding about our presentation and you have a question, you can write your question in the comment section below. And we are from group 14. Wanted to say thank you and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.